The history of the Methodist Church in Kharkiv during the year of war is a story of survival, solidarity, and unwavering faith. The people who experienced these trials became witnesses to the incredible cruelty of war, but they refused to let it break their spirits. When the war reached Kharkiv, people felt horror and anxiety. It was unexpected for everyone. This is how the parishioners of the Methodist Church in Kharkiv remember the beginning of the war.
The war in Ukraine started on February 24, 2022. Of course, all the residents of Kharkiv were deeply frightened, and when the air raid siren sounded, we heard all those rocket impacts, sounds of artillery. We hid in basement.
When I heard it for the first time, woke up in the morning from the explosion, and intellectually, I understood that war had started, but I couldn't believe that Russia had attacked Ukraine.
At the beginning of the war, there were constant bombings. We would be sitting in the church after the service or even during the service, and we could hear rockets whistling by. At first, we were very scared, but then we somehow got used to it.
Rocket attacks forced people to seek shelter in basements, and many shared their fear and anxiety during those moments. Svetlana recalls such an episode.
It was really, really terrifying. They carried my 99-year-old grandmother to the basement. Can you imagine, arm in arm with her son? We had a very deep basement in our courtyard, and we sat there when it was really loud.
The residents of Kharkiv repeatedly experienced moments of terror when the sound of sirens pierced through the air, heralding a new threat. Several rocket attacks, including one on a regular school, revealed the inhuman and treacherous face of the enemy.
A rocket hit a school right next to us. One wing of the school was destroyed.
Perhaps the most challenging trial was the realization that the war was continuing. People felt fear for their loved ones, worry about the future, and the bitterness of loss. But they did not lose hope and supported each other. Pastor Igor Pak of the Kharkiv Methodist Church recalls what was the most terrifying and difficult.
In the first few days, of course, when there was no bread, all the stores were closed, the city was empty. We didn't hold services. There was no public transportation. Thank God I had a bicycle. I rode through the empty city, and it was unsettling. It felt like a horror movie, an empty city with only one person in it. The most difficult part probably was telling people that it was possible to live under these conditions.
The expectations of the war's end are imbued with strong hope for peace and the rebirth of the city. People dream of returning to normal life, reuniting with their families and friends, and rebuilding their destroyed homes. They eagerly await the end of the war and have no doubt in Ukraine's victory.
The war has been going on for over 400 days now. Our expectations are for the war to end as soon as possible. All people, not just in our city, but in our community, want the war to end in this year, 2023.